Previously on Unfettered.
So you see this like it's the symbol of the travelers, but it's like incredibly this particular tattoo is incredibly elaborate. Running across like through it on either side and across is like this pulsating like just like when Albert uses his power, you see his skin crack and like red flame comes up. You see across the symbol of the travelers. Like that same kind of bolting, like bubbling molten energy.
Yeah. So Zarai, what are these challenges we just got signed up for?
Well, there are 5 of them. One for each of the pairs of the gods.
I figured as much.
And things here in Dunsmith are getting worse. One of them specifically stands out. He stands at about 6.5 feet tall. His body is covered in fur, his hands tipped in claws, and his head is that of a wolf. The werewolf is Admiral Caden Cross, who was a renowned fighter in the during the War of Ennoblement. Gamzee's blood and fire pouring out of her. The sand beneath you at this point is like turning a muddy orange, and like parts of it are starting to like caramelize into glass, and she swipes out at him, and then with her other arm, like while he's distracted, just brings it up into like at the base of his throat, and she pulls him down toward her so their faces are right next to each other, and her helmet, like her mask, goes back up into her her circlet. She says, "Maradun will never fall to the Empire." And she spits on him and drops his lifeless corpse to the ground.
Albert kind of like gently glides down, walks to the center of the arena, like points at the Empire's seats and like goads them like with one hand.
I am afraid Etlu was not swayed by your vulgarity. Hello, and welcome to episode 11, part 1 of Unfettered, with my friends Crispy and Top Hat. Crispy, how are you?
Pensive.
Performing. Okay. Top Hat.
Pretty good. Life
continues to be lifelike.
Yeah.
Either of you do anything exciting or interesting with your life, or is your entire life Dungeons and Dragons at this point?
I spent until 5 a.m. last night doing karaoke.
Nice. How's that? Were you good?
Wake up to a little bit. No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Wake up until a little bit before game started.
Nice. That's living the dream.
That's what happens when you sing karaoke. You have to sleep off the shame.
Ironically, I got more hours of sleep last night than I had the rest of the week, so...
You needed a lot of hours to get that shame off.
I started playing XCOM 2 this week, which has been a lot of fun, but also incredibly frustrating, which I think is kind of the point. I've been naming and designing the characters where appropriate after characters in Unfettered. I had an Albert Vessinger. That run didn't go so well. I'm working up to getting Constance, but I really feel like I need to have psionics for that. None of the other classes quite feel appropriate.
Wait, did Vessinger die, or did it just not go well?
I don't remember if he died, honestly. It was my shortest run. It was like maybe an hour and a half, and then something went sideways. I don't remember what it was, and we restarted. This last run this one that I'm doing right now has actually been going really, really well. I've got Roderick, Lefo, Kelly, and I think that's it. One of the characters I've been contemplating naming after a Bryant's character from our Apocalypse World campaign. But I haven't pulled the trigger on that. Unfortunately,
Does she use a sword?
she uses an axe, but she when she was
Cool.
randomly generated, she was randomly generated with a welding mask and booty shorts.
I
Done.
think the character.
And Bryant's character, Boots, from our Apocalypse World game, wore booty shorts, a bra, and wielded a katana, and had a gas mask. So, I've been contemplating making that switch, but unfortunately, in the last mission, I'd gotten everybody up to, I think it's Colonel is the highest rank, so everybody was super dope. And I got XCOM'd, and Lifo, over the course of one turn, Lifo and Roderick were absolutely slaughtered. So I'm kind of hoping that's not foreshadowing for our actual game. But who
Lifo's not
knows?
here right now.
Yeah, no, Lifo's somewhere else. Roderick is close at hand.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if our NPCs can only die on screen, then all we need to do is throw our PCs at mobs. Even if we die, we can always re-roll and rejoin the rebellion as new characters.
Yeah.
So our core group will never die.
Yeah.
Actually, this is not a bad idea.
But then again, that's meta logic.
So
That
yeah,
doesn't make sense.
that's
Well, but how much would Constance be willing to watch Gamzees die?
How much would Gamzees be willing to not go out into the front lines?
That's oh god, they're both gonna die.
that is unfortunately true of several of your NPCs. The unfortunate side effect of starting a revolution is people end up caring about it.
Oh, shit. Speaking of a revolution,
Yeah, should we actually get to our D&D?
No.
Good, because we're gonna
You
start
heard it.
off. We're gonna start off with a bit of a cutscene. So after our beginning credits for our television show, we come up on a sort of like a domestic setting, sort of a nice middle, like upper middle class house somewhere in the Empire, and we are looking at an elf that we saw in a flashback last week, whose name is Tolondo Kent. He is standing in sort of like a sitting room, conversing with a rather severe-looking human woman in an imperial officer's uniform, and they are arguing over something. Tolondo insists, like, we took her in, and when we did that, we took on a responsibility, and part of that responsibility is understanding her. She's not from here. Things are different where she's from. Then that means maybe we need to make some changes. And the woman who's like, she's got her hands clasped behind her back, chin up in this very severe posture. Or perhaps, Tolondo, it means that she needs to adjust to life here. This is the Empire, not whatever backwards place she is from. And she's going to be spending the rest of her life here. It's time she adjusts. And sort of like behind her, holding on to like the tail of her coat, we see a young boy with dark hair done up in a small sort of like a facsimile of a military bun. And he's like looking up at the two of them, and then he looks down the hallway, and we can see a young elf girl who we recognize as young Constance, sort of peeking out of a doorway. And he looks back up at his parents, who are clearly engrossed in their argument, and he sort of cautiously moves down the hallway toward Constance. Hey, Um, I don't. I'm Molokai, and he holds a hand out.
I'm a and she starts to say a different name, and then like looks at the ground and goes, Constance.
He holds his hand there for a second, and then puts it down awkwardly. So you're gonna be staying with us for a while, yeah?
That's what they tell me.
Well, that's cool. I've always wanted a sister. He smiles.
Constance is still kind of like halfway behind the door, like
Mm-hmm.
sitting there, and then like I think that she's gonna like creep around the corner a little bit more
Like into the hallway or back into the room?
into the hallway. Yeah.
Okay. I was with Mom. So I'm sorry I wasn't here to greet you when you got here. Um, she's really cool. I mean, I know it's kind of difficult with all the yelling, but she's amazing. You should see her on the deck. Her crew respects her, and they, she tells them to do anything, and they do it in an instant.
Low flying planes. Yeah, I think Constance is gonna kind of be quiet and just.
I guess you fly too?
And then yeah, Constance is gonna nod and just look to the window and like just kind of grab Molokai's like sleeve or something and like pull him into the room and like go to the window and just point, and there's just gonna be like a little baby wyvern just flying in circles outside.
Oh, whoa! So that's what they're arguing about. I think it's cool. I think Dad's right. It should come inside. So did you fly that here from wherever you came from?
No, we took the portal.
Well, that's okay. I don't have to understand. But if you fly, and you fly that all on your own?
Well, yeah, that's how you fly a wyvern.
That means you're like your own captain. And he steps back from where you guys were up on the bed. He like steps back and like does a like really terrible salute.
With the wrong arm?
Yeah, with left hand. Captain? And I think we drop that scene there. And we come up on the 5 of you sitting in sort of the courtyard area of your suite. There's a set of like stone benches and seats near the edge of the pool, or the pond, and you're sitting around, and everyone has sort of this like glum expression, a little defeated perhaps. What are you doing, the 2 of you?
I assume this is like right after we get back.
Yeah.
So like, you see Vessinger kind of like, again, looking kind of pensive, and he like looks up and he looks around the circle. I will accept responsibility for this failure. It was my fault, through and through.
No.
But we mustn't lose Gamzees.
I should have known. I knew when we came here that this place is different. And I did not treat it like that. I treated it like home. Like we were fighting.
Gamzees, enough of that. Like I said, I will take responsibility. I should have foreseen this would happen. But there's still hope. We have 4 trials more. And furthermore, although we may have failed, one of Molochai's top men has been killed. And that is a success for the rebellion either way.
Mabel shifts somewhat uncomfortably, but Gamzees and Roderick nod.
We need to do research. We need to find out what these dragon gods want to see from these trials, what they like, their preferences. This isn't a game about winning. This is a game about winning favor.
Well, I
Truly
mean,
terrible that so much is lying on a subjective view, but we must pull through. Hersagul needs us.
sounds like we need to get our morale back. And Constance reaches behind her chair, just pulls out a jug, and you see the dragon face symbol on it.
Gamzees perks up, and Mabel's like, "Oh no, excuse me, I'm tired. It's been a long day." And she goes back to her room. But yeah, Gamzees and Roderick are all aboard the drinking shitty dragon booze train.
I believe it was incredibly alcoholic dragon booze.
Yeah, the
See,
near lethal dragon booze.
Vessinger slowly unbuttons his coat. And how about it? A game of cards?
Yeah, and I think we can fast forward. You have 10 days till the next trial, which will be the trial of craft.
All right.
Which, as a reminder, mostly for our viewers, the test is to produce your greatest creation and offer it to the god dragons of the Golden Anvil and the Obsidian Sickle.
So yeah, I think we were talking about what we were going to do, so I think that's what we're going for.
I think researching the preferences of the dragons, like finding what they like, what they don't like, and the way that we can really kind of solidly secure their favor in these upcoming challenges.
Okay, so
I'm going to continue to visit Dragon Isles.
Okay, so in these 10 days, each of you can do a thing. I assume Roderick and Mabel are hard at work on your project for the trial.
Yes.
What are the other 3 of you going to be doing during that time? By character. So let's say starting with Constance. You're going to be going around trying to visit
the various dragon isles, seeing which dragons will give me permission to go onto their isle and just see how they live. Okay. Like what their domains are like. And
just which give me some names and I can tell you how that goes. Like, I mean, you've already visited the Bronze Isle. Silver was a no, if I remember correctly.
I thought Silver was the place we were at.
No, you were at Gold.
Oh. Then Silver was a no.
Silver was a no.
Copper?
Red. Red is clearly a no.
I could ask him.
Yeah, I think maybe you could ask. Like you can talk to Zerai and be like, Zerai, would it be acceptable for me to go to the Ruby Isle? And Zerai will caution you against it.
Okay.
Given Abatu's somewhat fiery demeanor.
Well, then let's see about going to... I kind of wanted to see if the Blue Dragon will let me go to the Sapphire Island.
I think actually, after the first trial, Sataru will allow you limited access to the Sapphire Isle.
This is a good sign.
And as with the Bronze Isle, you know, there's somewhat of a village down near the outskirts, and then of course there's the pathway up to the Sapphire Palace, which again, like, you're just stricken every time by the opulence. Each of these palaces are named for, with the exception of the the Palace of Majesty. They're named for the element that their dragon represents, but they are also made of that substance. So the Sapphire Palace is in fact just a palace made of precious gems. And Sataru won't let you, like, if you try to go up the path out of the village and to the palace, you'll be stopped by Sataru's guards. But
where is Sataru's library? Is it in the palace?
It is. There are so the people within the village are predominantly scribes. So there are a number of scrolls and books and tablets throughout the village being copied, old decaying tomes being copied over to preserve them, so on and so forth.
If I can, I want to see if they have any research on the arcane there. Like early research.
Go ahead and roll an investigation check, I guess, because you're poking around.
I have a character sheet I need to open. This is a multiple minute process.
Occasionally, yeah. Roll20 could use some optimization. I guess these character sheets could use some optimization. They're pretty...
There we go.
Crunchy.
Investigation, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Inspiration.
Okay. And actually, I want to start incorporating inspiration into this in a slightly more narrative way. What about this, like, is different from Constance investigating normally?
10 days. Only 10 days.
Time. Yeah, I don't,
I mean, is it just that you're treating it more
thing
seriously
as.
than you normally would?
Yeah, I think so. She's just more determined. Like, this isn't just, research about dragons because these are trials. This is like, it kind of directly ties to her, so...
So she's taking this seriously, and maybe we as an audience can see this in that instead of just sort of like wandering around the towns, all of our scenes of her walking through the Sapphire Village, she like has a clear purpose. She looks determined instead of sort of flippant, and she's asking pointed questions. A 15 is pretty good. You happen upon an obscure scroll, I guess, that is some up and coming Blue Dragonborn's like thesis paper, I guess, about the arcane. And what it talks about is it talks about the arcane as a sort of like an ocean, which is a term Constance is only like halfway familiar with. The word didn't really fall out of common, but it became archaic, sort of like many old English words. If you heard them, you'd be like, oh yeah,
it's
I kind of understand.
It's the stuff of a fairy tale.
Yeah, you hear stories about sailing the seas instead of the skies in the olden days. And so this student talks about it like an ocean, like a flowing sea of energy that as it crashes upon its various currents and flows, the interactions with itself create interesting phenomenon, like the magical phenomenon often visible near the surface of the arcane. But most importantly, just dropped in as sort of a like part of their thesis paragraph, it's mentioned that, as we know, Webster's dictionary defines the arcane as the outpouring of energy resultant from the shattering of ley lines in Hersagul.
Well. Yeah, I think that the Constance is just like, huh.
Which
Close the
is
book.
100% news to
Yeah, I think
Constance.
she rolls the scroll back up, puts it down, like thanks the Dragonborn, and starts walking
They're
back
like, wait,
towards
no,
her ship.
can we talk about my sentence structure? I'm really concerned I'm going to get a bad grade.
But then, like, Constance just pulls out the comm, goes, Vessinger.
What? Constance,
I
hope you realize
I just read something that we might want to talk about.
Perhaps not in public.
It has to do with the arcade and how it was created. Okay. Bye.
And I think now we can find out what Albert has been up to.
So I'd like to ask, first of all, I'm thinking I want to spend some of my special magic social resource points.
There really aren't any, because the Draconic Isles are an inherently isolationist nation. None of your social capital elsewhere really.
But what about those religious favors with the travelers? The organization that's all over Hersagul that has a sacred pact with the Dragon Isles that lets them enter?
You can ask, but you're gonna get very limited response.
Okay. Because I'd like to try and spend some of those to get information about the Dragon Gods.
Okay.
Like, what has the travelers' interactions with the Dragon Gods been?
Yeah.
That actually, you can talk to Zerai and be like, I'm a former traveler and representative of them in these negotiations, and I would like to know more about, the history of this interaction. And Zerai will happily lead you to the small library in the Palace of Majesty, and guide you to some manuscripts on the topic. So go ahead and spend a token.
All right.
And what you can get from that is a whole lot of boring information about, like, logging travelers that showed up.
Yeah.
But also, once you get back far enough, you can find some information talking about visits from before the Cataclysm.
Oh, shit. What?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Please do tell. I'd like to hear about this.
So none of them ever go into, like, hyper detail.
Yeah.
But there are, like, several accounts of, like, okay, so a traveler showed up to talk to this particular dragon god, and you know that it's pre-Cataclysm, based on the fact that the dating feels really weird. The dating for all of this is weird. They don't run off of common dating. It's not, counting up from the Cataclysm like most of the other lands do. It's counting from some absolute date long, long ago. And so you were just sort of, like, reading through this and you go, wait. So if we're in this year and this happened there, but some probably thousand and a couple hundred years ago, there is a short note in some legal document talking about a pact signed with followers of Fate, or rather a pact signed with Fate to grant their followers passage throughout the many lands of Hersagul.
Does that mean that Fate has signing capabilities? This is some very weird legal work here. I think this is incredibly shocking news. So
and
it's gonna, like...
it's in there. You managed to find it so easily, I guess, because it's in, like, the pact signed by all 10 of the god dragons, and there are, like, there are so few of them that you don't have to get very far to find that one.
Oh shit.
Because they tend
So
not to
few.
agree on stuff.
Yeah. Wait, doesn't that mean that I could use my position as a traveler to enter all of the islands?
Yeah. If you're willing to present yourself as a traveler.
Well, I am the representative of the travelers. I don't have to be a traveler.
Well, you are a representative of the traveler, which is what allows you to get into the
Yeah.
Draconic Isles and represent them, but to observe all of their privileges in the area rather than just be allowed a seat at the table.
I need to present as a traveler.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's going to have to be some careful measuring as to whether or not he wants to use that.
Mhm.
For the moment, though, for his actual action for the week, he's going to study the preferences of the dragons.
Okay.
Dragon.
Roll a, I guess, Arcana check.
All right. What if I talked to the Dragonborn to try and figure it out?
Talk to Zaire or Zerai rather.
Yeah, Zerai. Like talk to people and figure out the aspects of their fate through talking to people.
You could roll persuasion.
All right, sick.
Let's see what you get. A 10.
I fucking should have inspiration.
Yeah, you should have. Zerai is plenty helpful, but really, like, they present things in such a matter-of-fact way that, like, based on assumptions, right? Like, the idea of common knowledge, but since the culture in the Draconic Isles is so isolated from the rest of the world,
Reality.
A lot of the references are just kind of lost on you.
Oh, shit. Well, there's always Gamzees.
So yeah, you can't really get much. Yeah, what is Gamzees doing for these 10 days?
Gamzees is
Could always intimidate to get some information. Wait, holy shit. No, this could work. We could have Gamzees intimidate Imperial soldiers to get more information on the trials from them.
oh god.
Okay.
Gamzees gather information from them. Okay.
Is that something we can do?
You can do that, certainly.
That doesn't seem like a good idea. I know what. Gamzees, roll a religion check to see if you know anything about Draconic lore.
Unlikely, but possible.
Or
She's trained in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like she references her own knowledge. Maybe she looks through religious tomes because she's practiced at that.
Yeah.
Just try and make something up. I should have had you roll that one.
Yeah, I mean, 12 is not very good. I think she tries really hard to help, or tries to use her religious background as a common point for interacting with various Dragonborn throughout the palace and, like, get some information, but she is not the most social person, and so she runs into some problems with the sort of, like, ritualistic nature of socializing here.
Turns out dragons and elementals are different.
Very different. Yes. And I guess my question about Roderick and Mabel is, how much money are you spending on this?
how much money do we have? The answer is most of it.
Yes.
This one. Let's see. I want to say at least. Oh, we've got like 25,000. No. Yeah, like 25,000. Yeah, they'll probably end up with like
20,000?
Yeah.
Is that what we can get away with and still have 5,000 to do stuff with?
Okay.
Yeah, they have 20,000 gold to work with.
All right, so let's fast forward to maybe a couple days before the actual trial. This entire past week, various Imperial retainers have been surreptitiously walking past the suite, trying to see if they can see anything or gather any information.
Is the very large cannon done yet?
Yeah. There's a bit of like Gamzee's walking outside and intimidating, like cracking her knuckles or something.
Yeah, we see like a couple soldiers like talking to each other, walking past, and they look through the doorway, and she's just standing there. She cracks her knuckles, and they like walk a little faster.
One day we just have a wolf pelt on like drying in the hallway.
Oh Jesus, dude.
That's so.
Oh.
Hey, it's just a regular wolf.
We already lost the trial, so we might as well just like fucking rub it in, right?
So let's see that conversation that you guys are going to have between the two of you about the stuff you found out over the course of this time.
Right. So I assume we both get back to the courtyard? Yeah, courtyard.
So, Hersagul blew up because the ley lines exploded. Or were exploded.
What?
They said it very matter-of-factly. Their records go back before the Cataclysm.
I found that out myself. Apparently, the Travelers have been around since well before the Cataclysm. And apparently, the dragons signed a pact with fate itself. Not entirely sure how one signs a pact with fate, but I can't imagine
Gods are gods?
process. I guess. Oh, this is most troubling indeed. We need to see if they have more information happened during this cataclysm.
I mean, I signed a pact with the spirit of the land itself. This kind of happens.
I don't think. You see Vessinger struggling. You don't just sign pacts with extra-dimensional beings. Skin cracks a little bit.
It's just like no, I did. It happened. This is statement.
Just like, oh, Constance, it wears on me sometimes.
It's only to find that
Anyways.
sword.
But aside from that, our investigations as to the preferences of dragons have not been very, I should say, fruitful.
Yeah, I got you all the history books on them already.
What's up?
I already got you all the history books on the dragons.
Well, I tried talking to their followers and seeing from them, but alas, no avail.
You should try talking to some of the local ones. They're much nicer.
Never mind. We'll just have to wait to this next trial. Figure it out. So.
Can we focus on this whole ley lines explode, world goes boom?
Constance, I don't know what you want me to do. I know nothing with regards to Layla. Or
I'm like, you see me like turn to just go, man. No, she's working.
look, this is important information, no doubt. But this is a matter for after we've saved the Hersagul.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta look past what your current problem is to get over it.
So you're saying we stimulate the ley lines exploding again?
No, reverse explosion. Make everything go back to normal.
A reverse explosion.
I know. If that's even possible.
If the arcane is like an ocean. Just kind of, Constance walks away, just like for the first time we've seen, she's like just rattling off arcane theory.
I think we see Mabel and Roderick from where they're working. Like Mabel looks over, confused, and then gets back to work. All right.
Vessinger needs like a couple drinks now.
Constance knows arcane theory. She just doesn't like arcane theory.
So should we reach the 3-day mark? Do we get idea of what the next challenge is?
I mean, sorry if it was not made clear, but yeah, the next challenge is craft. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
So yeah, Zerai shows up and it's like, so the next trial will be the trial of craft. I hope that you are prepared or close to prepared.
I turn to like where Mabel and Roderick have been working.
Yeah, they've got like grease stains or like ink stains, and their hair is disheveled, and Mabel's drinking coffee with one of her eyes closed. What?
Is it done?
Does it have to be done?
Yes.
We'll.
She
finish
puts
it.
her coffee down.
We'll be right on this. And like Constance runs in.
We will have it prepared by the time the competition comes around.
Good. It should be far less strenuous than the trial of war. You simply must show up and present.
Well, we'll see how many of us are still awake and alive by then, but we'll be there. My thanks, Zerai.
As is my duty.
Vessinger's kind of like roll up his sleeves, like push his hair back a little bit, and then like look inside and see if there's anything he can help with.
Yeah, I think we see you go over to them, and Roderick just throws up his hands. Too many cooks, too many. Out. And we can fast forward 3 days. Let's get I think I have an Arcanomancy proficiency on Roderick's sheet.
Yes. Roderick has expertise with that, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's roll that with actually, let's not make that roll yet. Just prepare to roll that with advantage in a bit. So it is the day of the trial, and early in the morning, once again, Zerai shows up at your rooms and rouses you and gets you set for the day. There's definitely some tension in the air. Roderick and Mabel are both very nervous. They're clearly not sure if they've got everything. Like, you're all sitting around together early in the morning, chill, eating breakfast, and the two of them are like sitting there kind of sleep deprived and half dead. Wait, did we forget? No, okay. But what about? No, okay. And Gamzees is sitting there, like holding her coffee with her knee bouncing, and her coffee's boiling a bit. So like everyone's a little uneasy, and we follow you. I think Mabel and Roderick stay behind, too exhausted to feel presentable. And Gamzees is carrying this box, and as the two of you lead the way, and your small envoy stands outside the doors to the throne room, and the Imperial delegation arrives shortly afterward. The Ambassador Pontius Klein leading the way, his chin held high, and he arches an eyebrow. Vessinger. Stormheart.
Pompous. I apologize.
He narrows his eyes. Laugh while you can, traitor. And behind him, you see, his usual entourage of a couple soldiers, and one of the elementals, or like the elementally powered constructs.
Yeah.
And he looks over at Gamzees and smirks at this like plain wooden box she's holding. After a brief moment, Zaire bows to the both of you and opens the doors to the throne room. Zaire announces all of you, and you can enter. At the end, of course, Boozer is sitting with Gula by his side, and then over toward like at the bottom of the dais, there's a small chair placed for Mersu, sitting there with his like long hair in a single ponytail down his back, and his like silver and black silk robes neat upon him, just regarding all of this with a sort of detached air. Boozer speaks up. The delegation the delegation from the Empire will speak first. And the ambassador steps forward, smiling. Your Greatness, today I have for you the most beautiful craft found anywhere in Hersagul. And he turns to the construct, and it steps forward, and the plates on its chest open up. Do you have a thing, Top Hat?
What do I roll to pray to the spirit of Maradun to reclaim its elements?
Religion.
Come on, Rune Mara.
Nope. So the plates on the front open up, and it's got its back to you, so you can't quite see. And he reaches in and pulls out a necklace. That is clearly a bit of small jewelry craft and a bit of arcanomancy. As it's this glittering golden necklace with magically hanging obsidian pendants, and he holds it out before the two dragon gods and says, our finest artisans created this as a symbol of our unity and our hopes and dreams that you will see the good we can bring into this world together. And a attendant will come down the dais and like take the necklace from the ambassador and show it to Mersu, and then go back up the dais and show it to Boozer. And they both regard it sort of with these very passive faces. They're very passive people. And so it's really difficult to read what they're feeling. If you want to make an insight check, you may.
Do you think any of us know insight?
But otherwise,
I'm gonna try it.
I could try it.
I'm gonna try it anyways. I'm even gonna spend inspiration on this because
I have a better chance than you.
Very, very important. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Sec. Do it anyway. You can both make it, right?
Yeah, you can both roll.
Alright.
Hey! A 16 is pretty good. You're not going to get anything specific from that, but they generally regard it positively. They don't appear like you've seen Boozer upset, and this is not an upset Boozer. This is gauging by his reaction, you feel like the two of them had a positive reaction.
Yeah.
And then they will call you forward.
All right. So I will, Vessinger taking the lead, leading along Gamzees. Like so I assume we like step up to the front and then we take out our creation, then bring it forwards.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So, we'll step up. Vessinger will clear his throat. This humble one will presents you with this creation. Opening the box, taking out, which is what's like I imagine would be like a kind of like silver entwined circlet with like a couple. Why don't you take over, Top Hat? I'm not. Really...
So yeah, it's a crown, a silver crown with gems inlaid on it, and you see the like glowing lines of arcanomancy connecting each of the gems.
Yeah. And Vessinger says, we are far from being able to say that this is the finest craft in all of the lands. Before God, us mortals are but drifting flakes of snow. But this is this piece represents the determination, the will, the desire to resist and sustain. This represents the resistance's determination, gifted to you as a sign of good faith and the hope of perhaps your grace. And then he kind of like gives a half bow, and I assume Gamzee steps forth with the.
Yeah, an attendant will come down to take it from her. And he the attendant takes it to Mersu, who raises an eyebrow and looks at it from a couple different angles but doesn't touch it. And the Dragonborn takes it up to Boozer, who picks it up, holds it, turns it over in his hands a few times. And then we see Gula whisper something in his ear, and he turns and raises an eyebrow. Her Greatness, God Dragon of the Silver Censer, tells us that this holds a special function.
Yes, my lords. This crown is designed to allow one clear their thoughts of any unwanted presence to maintain free will.
Let's
roll that.
Let's
check.
get that check. Yeah.
So it had advantage, right?
Yes.
You roll this one, Top Hat. I'm not taking responsibility. Fuck up.
Roderick, don't fail me. Please don't fail me.
17.
It's not a
failure. He takes the circlet and turns to Gula, and she like bows her head, and he places it. And she looks up, and her eyes like glow silver, and she turns to Boozer and whispers something to him. I have decided. Has the god dragon of the obsidian sickle made their choice? Mersu bows his head. And they both turn to you. It is decided. Victory for this trial goes to those claiming to represent the resistance.
And, at this, Vessinger, bows deeply. Thank you.
We all bow.
You're allowed 10 days to prepare yourselves for the next trial. He turns to Pontius, who has this sour look on his face. And you as well. You are dismissed.
So,
Constance is like, how do I back way faster without being impolite?
yeah. Just moving as quickly as we can to avoid offending anyone.
Yeah, you get out of the throne room and the doors close, and Gamzee's jumps in the air.
I think that you see Constance just teleport back into the suite and then just tackle Roderick and Mabel.
What? Are we dead? Is this? Am I
we
being
won.
eaten?
We're one step closer to not being dead.
What? What
You're
happened?
geniuses.
Wait, did we do it?
Yeah. Apparently they're fans.
Yeah, they lose their shit. They're like laughing, they're crying, they're hugging. Back out in the hall, Zerai will approach you, Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Please accept my deepest congratulations.
Thank you, Zerai. Of course, your support has been greatly appreciated.
I am pleased to see such a change in such little time. Perhaps what is said of mortals from outside these lands, that they are ever changing, never learning. Perhaps this is untrue.
I should hope we have some chance of I forgot
Learning
where I was
from our
going with that.
mistakes.
Yeah, I can only hope we have some chance of learning.
Zerai smiles. Should you wish to take extra care for your next trial, I believe it would be prudent for you to examine your skills with magic. And Zerai winks.
Yeah, so you know, Vessinger does like a polite half bow, my thanks, and then nods and walks off, and you see, like, you know, he's still like maintaining his like posture or whatever, but his hand is like slightly trembling as he puts it into his puts it down to his side.
Yeah. And I think let's take our first break there, because we are on the hour. We finished the first trial, or I guess the second trial, and yeah, we will be back in just a couple minutes, and we will see you there.